I feared my sweet potatoes were doomed until this one soil secret changed everything. In this video, I'm taking you on a sweet potato harvest. Let's get into it. If you haven't seen my 3 prior videos where I show you how to grow a ton of food in a tiny amount of space, this is the final harvest to that video, which is these sweet potatoes right here that I grew in simple moving containers as I was doing an experiment to see how much food can I grow on a budget this past season. And then I did a turmeric harvest, which was right here, and a ginger harvest, which was right here. And I pulled off a ton of turmeric and ginger by just adding a few simple ingredients into my soil. Go check out those videos and I'll leave links down below in the description box. In the meantime, let's get right into it. I had a microphone malfunction, so I'll be narrating the rest of this video. This is the first container I grabbed, which was the Okinawan variety of sweet potatoes. And in this part, I'm talking about before I harvest the sweet potatoes, I cut the new shoots off or slips. And I snip off the ends of all the vines, right? And then what I do next is I'll clip off all of the bottom leaves, especially the big leaves. And I'll usually just leave a few leaves on the top. And this will help it to absorb sunlight so that it can sprout out new roots. And what I do next is I'll just do this to all of the sweet potatoes that I have, the 3 different varieties, and then I'll end up throwing them all in a vase with water. And this has been only 3 days. I did this 3 days ago before I did this harvest. And as you can see, they are already starting to shoot out roots. The white roots. If you can see that, they're just so resilient. Sweet potatoes are absolutely amazing when it comes to replanting. So I'll leave them in this vase for maybe about another week, and then I'll replant them in my new reconditioned soil that I'll be mixing soon. So stay tuned, I'll make a video on how I'll recondition all of my soils and just revamp them with new composts and organic fertilizers and all this good stuff. So once we got that done, I'm just going to start cutting and even pulling out the rest of the sweet potato vines and just toss that on the side and we're good to go. I won't be using these containers again next season, or this season I should say. They were a 1-season type of experiment that I did, and they performed okay, honestly. But there is much higher quality growing containers out there that I have found. So it was a pretty cool experiment to do. And you learn a lot, you know, when you just keep experimenting, fine-tuning, refining your gardening techniques, right? Your growing strategies. This was just a fun experiment that I did. So the Okinawan sweet potatoes, the ones that I've seen, they have the whitish colored skin, and then inside the flesh is purple. I'll put a picture up of how the Okinawan sweet potatoes look when they're all cleaned up and cooked and stuff. They're just so beautiful and tasty. Very creamy and buttery, I find, compared to some other sweet potatoes and even yams. Here I'm just cleaning out all the old roots. Just gotta kind of get them all together and just clean them out real quick, and then I'll throw this soil in one of my other big containers until it's ready to be reconditioned with some fresh compost and organic fertilizers. We got a few good tubers out of that one, and that was about it. On to the next container. This next variety of sweet potato is a more of a dark reddish skin with the white flesh inside. Since I already got all the slips that I need for replanting, I'm just gonna yank all these out and put them on the side to place in my compost later. This variety of sweet potato seemed to grow a little more aggressively than the Okinawan variety. As you can see, the roots, this one had more roots, more leaves. This dark red skin, white flesh sweet potato grew much better than the Okinawan and the Molokai sweet potatoes that I grew this year. I'm not sure why this variety did a little bit better, but I was able to harvest a little bit more out of this variety than the others. I noticed some years it's different too though, because some years I would harvest more of the Molokai sweet potatoes than the others. Leave a comment below if you have a favorite variety of sweet potato. I'm curious to know what other types of varieties are out there. There must be hundreds, if not thousands, of different potato varieties. Let me know what is your favorite. I have a new type of tuber that I will be growing this year alongside the sweet potatoes. So stay tuned, it's coming up shortly. In this next part, I wanted to share some of the comments that subscribers and viewers were leaving. People were coming up with brilliant ideas on how you can grow food more effectively and efficiently. A lot of people were dropping some wisdom down in the comments section, so I'll share some with you right now. One of the comments was, I put my kitchen scraps in my blender and make them into a sort of soup. I add them to my grass clippings, twigs, and such. Everything breaks down faster, which is absolutely brilliant and genius if you think about it. It will speed up the composting process in probably half the time. Another comment was, so it's best to preload your charcoal by turning them into biochar. You can do this by adding it into your compost pile while the pile is decomposing. Or you can also soak your charcoal in a liquid fertilizer like your fish emulsion and water. The microbes will use the biochar as a hotel and they will unlock the nutrients to the biochar absorbed, and then release them into your plants. Another person commented and said that those containers that I'm using in this harvest video will continue to break down because they aren't UV treated. Also, you will have better luck if you use a soldering iron to burn drainage holes in the plastic. Just burn it in a well-ventilated place that will help your containers hold together better. The sun dries up all the elasticity out of that plastic. I just want to give a big shout out to everyone who has been commenting, dropping some wisdom, and sharing their knowledge in the previous videos. Your comments are much appreciated, and they will help myself and others to better our gardening skills and be more effective in becoming more sustainable. And there you have it, guys. Over 10 pounds of sweet potatoes grown in small containers. Just showing you what is possible when you actually want to grow food in your backyard, especially in a tiny space. I think potatoes are one of the easiest things you can start growing, especially if you're first starting off. If you're first starting off in your garden or wanting to start a garden, then definitely start growing some regular potatoes or sweet potatoes. I highly recommend it, and they're pretty low maintenance for the most part. And the yields are usually pretty big, especially when you got them in the right environment, in the right type of soil. You'll get great results. Next, I'm going to share a few ingredients that I mixed into my soil. And the first is charcoal, right out of my fire pit. Just regular plain charcoal, which I'll be making some biochar this season by crushing up my charcoal and mixing it into my compost as it's decomposing. That way it'll start absorbing all of the nutrients as the compost is breaking down. Next, I wanted to show you the new addition to the family of tubers that I'm going to grow this year. And this right here is orange yams that I got from Costco of all places. If you ever been to Costco and seen the organic orange yams that they have in those big bags, this is that right there, and I seen it starting to sprout. So all I did was cut off 2 small pieces, as you can see right here in the video, and I put them in a dish with water, a little bowl with water, and it took about 2 weeks to get to where you see it now. All I did was put it next to my windowsill, and I just left it out of direct sunlight. Don't put it in direct sunlight, they'll get fried. But just next to the windowsill, 2 weeks later, and you can see all the roots that it created already. So these are ready to plant. I can just pop them in my new containers and start growing them already. So I'll be planting them shortly, and I'll probably make a video of me planting the new orange yams with the new sweet potato slips. So stay tuned for that upcoming video. So these sweet potato slips that I showed you earlier, I'm gonna let them stay in that vase for maybe about another week. I could honestly plant them right now and they would just start growing. That's how resilient sweet potatoes are. I'll leave them for about another week until the roots get more pronounced and stronger. And then I'll just pop them right in my new growing containers and we'll see how they do this season. Some of the other ingredients that I added into my sweet potato soil mix was my own compost, which is right here. Just my plain kitchen scraps that I pour into a pile and then let them sit for about a year. So kitchen compost, charcoal. Also, I have sand, which I do about a 1-to-10 ratio in most of my soils. So 1 scoop of sand for every 10 parts of peat moss is what I go with. Also, we can't forget the volcanic rock that I use to mix in my soil. This is more like pumice, I would say. Pumice rock in a very small size. I can get this rock locally where I'm located. So, I choose to get the small size because I find that it works very well in my soil, in most of the plants that I'm growing. As you can see in this example here, I show you how small the stones actually are. They're good size to allow good drainage within the soil and not to, overcrowd the soil with too big of a size. But I find that a lot of the plants that I grow, they seem to love the minerals that this volcanic rock contains. Within the upcoming next few weeks, I'm going to get much more of this type of rock. I have been looking into how you can actually filter water naturally, whether it's from the pipe or dirty water or water that you collect from, say, like your roof onto a tank. I've been looking into natural ways on how I can start filtering my own water in case of emergencies, right? And I found that a mixture of just some natural elements, such as sand, this volcanic rock right here I'm showing you, and you can use stones even, just like pumice stones, bigger stones you could use, and charcoal. And I'm going to build my own emergency natural water filter. This is on my list of videos to make, so stay tuned. Another ingredient I added into this soil mix, which I got from my local forest, was just dead trees that I would find around, and they were pretty much decomposed already and just nice and soft. Have you ever squeezed a like a dead branch or a tree before and it was really spongy. Well, that's how these pieces of trees that I got in my local forest. And what I did was I brought it home and I just smashed them up right inside of the wheelbarrow as I was mixing my soil. So I know with my sweet potatoes, I did this with the trees because I brought quite a few nice pieces back home from the forest. And then I just smashed them up with the shovel into tiny bits and pieces, as you can see in this example here. Here's a quick clip of one of my past shorts videos that I made where I was talking about these decomposting trees in the forest and how you can get your own free compost from your local forest if you are willing to go look for these types of trees and branches, because they are everywhere where I go hiking. If you enjoyed this video and would like to learn more about how you can start growing premium foods right in your backyard, then watch this video right here where I show you how I was growing pathetic tiny ginger until I added this into my soil. Watch this video right here and I will see you there.